Welcome to the Electric Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, Psychic Medium Jamie Lynn. Today we're thrilled to have Nathalie, aka Femme Tarot, an internationally renowned psychic medium and spiritual coach who has touched countless lives with her intuitive and compassionate approach. Known for her ability to connect with the spirit realm, Nathalie has spent years honing her skills in tarot, astrology, and mediumship, guiding clients toward deeper self-understanding and spiritual growth. In addition to her one-on-one readings, Nathalie is the creator of Femme Tarot, a popular YouTube channel where she shares her gifts and wisdom with a global audience. Through her channel, she combines tarot, astrology, and spiritual guidance to help people navigate life's challenges with clarity and confidence. Nathalie's work goes beyond providing answers. She creates a healing space that empowers individuals to confront struggles, heal past wounds, and step into their true potential. Today, she's here to share her journey and insights, and we can't wait to dive into this conversation. Hi, Nathalie. I'm so glad you're here on the Electric Spirit Podcast.
I'm very excited, very happy, and very honored to be here, Jamie. I love what you do. And we met, for those who are listening and don't know it, you were on my channel a couple of weeks ago, and I just loved having you on. The energy was amazing. I think we have similar abilities as well.
Yeah.
And I do find that when we come together, like the energy around us is just
I agree. And your YouTube channel is called Femme Tarot.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to tell people about your background and how all this started, because you did say you were in corporate America and you kind of were in the corporate closet. And when you named yourself Femme Tarot, you were still working in corporate America, right?
I was I was a marketing exec for years
Wow.
Well, I started in the music industry. So I worked at Sony Music. And then, I have a whole like different life before Femme Tarot, which is a book in its own, there's so much. So I started off at Sony Music being I was in the marketing department, and then I left Sony Music, and then I did radio in England, almost got into MTV. That's a different story for a different day. Anyways, I got into, fast forward a few years later, after Sony, I started working for tech companies and startups that were in the tech industry as a marketing exec. I love marketing. I still do to this day. I mean, we still have to do a lot of marketing for our spiritual business. And it helps when you have the background. But I was just feeling so worn out. I was just feeling I wasn't inspired by my job, etc. I was born with my gifts, with my abilities, but I had blocked them when I was in my 20s, because, in your 20s, you're like a student, you're at college or university, you just want to party, you just don't want to deal with spirit and souls that come through and other people's issues. You're self-centered.
Exactly.
And I was. But you cannot block it for long, because you were born with these abilities for a reason. And I always knew that my calling was to help people. I knew I was a healer. At some point when I was 28, 29, a marketing exec, okay? And I started a psychology course because I thought that was my way of helping people. And suddenly, boom, I had my spiritual awakening, and my guides came forward and they're like, what psychology? What are you talking about, girl? You've got to start your own spiritual business. You have to put yourself out there, reach as many people as you can, and help them, because the world right now, the collective, is going through a major transformation and transition, and we need more of you. Hands on deck. So this is what happened. So I was working. So I started my spiritual business. I started giving other people readings. And I wasn't advertising. So this was through my friends and family and through recommendations, etc. And I was doing that in the evening. So during the day, I would go to work, you know, be an executive. And then in the evenings, I had young kids. So I would put them to bed. And then I was on Zoom, you know, I was on
Oh,
Zoom giving readings. And then I did that for a few years. And then in the end, I said, this is what I should be doing. So I went to my boss. I gave my notice. He refused to let me go.
oh,
So that was stressful, Jamie. That was stressful because I
I
was
bet.
asking him. I went there with my, you know, with my there's a paper here in Europe. They have to sign a paper,
Oh,
which says that you know you're relieved from your position. And he was refusing to sign it. He was like, "How much money do you want? What do you want? You know, I'll get you a car. I'll get you this." I'm like, "It's not about the money." And he refused. And in the end, he let me leave because I was like, listen, we'll compromise. Okay. This is what we're going to do. If you need me, I'll act as a consultant. So
oh,
whenever you need me, I'll act as a consultant. And I did for a few months. And then,
yeah.
so during that time when I had already decided to leave my job and leave the corporate world, I decided to start my YouTube channel. And I was like, what am I going to name my YouTube channel? And I don't want people Googling my name. And then what if my boss sees it, or what someone else sees it, one of my clients, whatever, you know, I was just worried about that because back then it wasn't as it is now. So spiritualism is now becoming more mainstream. It's not taboo anymore. So I was thinking, I'm like, okay, what should I name my channel? And having the marketing background, I knew that I had to use the word tarot or psychic or intuitive or whatever it is that you're doing on your channel name,
Yeah.
right? Because that's easier for the algorithm to pick it up, because then the algorithm is able to categorize your channel
Mhm.
depending on, you know, the type of content. So I was like, okay. And it was a full moon. It was a full moon. And I was sitting there on my computer and I looked at the moon and I'm like, the moon, the feminine, you know, I started like working with the
Oh,
word moon and started brainstorming. And then I thought, well, it's all about the divine feminine. We're entering a time where the feminine energy is going to overrule, let's
mm,
say, everything else. So
yeah.
that's how the name came about, femme. And it's, don't confuse it with femme for people listening or watching. It's not LGBTQ, because some people get confused because they
Oh,
call um, the femmes are, you know, women who like women and who
oh,
are more
okay.
feminine. They call themselves that, if I'm not
Interesting.
mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
was out of the French word because I'm also French. My first language is,
Mm-hmm.
I'm bilingual, so French English. So it's
Wow.
femme. It's femme is a
Yeah.
woman.
I love that.
Long-winded answer, but there it is.
No, I like it. It's awesome. But were you initially drawn to tarot, or just you do everything? You do psychic, medium.
Like you.
Uh yeah, exactly. So you're just like me.
Yes, we are the Swiss knives
Yeah,
of the
exactly. We
spiritual.
sure are. Yeah, that's great. I love the name too. It's really
Thank you.
cool. Yeah. Yeah.
I started off, so how it all started with tarot and all that was
Mhm.
like when I was around 10, 11, because I was seeing, you know, spirits and ghosts and energies,
Mhm.
and I could read people and I could read people's auras. So I was just confused. But, you know, I was raised in a Catholic family. So my mom was totally against tarot or anything of that, divination tools in general. So I wasn't allowed to have them. So I started kind of playing around with playing cards,
Yeah.
cartomancy, so which I learned how to read. I started like I can do fortune, like gypsy readings as well, because
Mhm.
that's what I learned back then, because I was not allowed tarot. But I also got into astrology because I felt that I was going to get the answers of the knowledge that I was receiving. I didn't even know where, what, how. So I'm like, I'm going to find those answers in astrology. So I have to learn astrology so I can learn how to read my chart and understand who I am, because I didn't know who I was. So that's how
Yeah.
I got into astrology. And then a couple of years later, A friend of mine invited me over to their summer house. They had a beach house. And went there, and her cousin came in, who was like 10 years older than us. And she had a tarot deck with her. She's like, girls, come on, sit around the table. Let's throw the cards. Back then, all we cared about was boys. What is this boy thing? Or does he fancy me? Do you think? Those were the questions. And she started reading me. And then she looked at me straight in my eyes and she said, you've got to learn tarot because you've got an incredible gift, an incredible light. You're very, very gifted. And I was like, but I hadn't shared with anyone except my mom when I was little about everything that I was seeing and experiencing.
Yeah.
And she taught me tarot, and that's how I got into it. And then I went to boarding school, and then at boarding school, I was reading tarot for all the girls in my house. So that's how it
That's
all began.
amazing. Wow, that is really cool. I really
So yeah,
think that's awesome.
that's
And
I mean,
yeah, and your channel's fun too. I love your channels. People can check it all. I'll have all the links in the
thank you.
description. Yeah. And on your YouTube channel, it is called Femme Tarot, like you mentioned. You often do readings about pop culture. I've noticed that you just did one on the royals. What have been your favorite topics to explore?
In general, I would
Yeah.
say that's a good question. I like pop culture because I like pop culture
Yeah.
myself, and since I
Mm-hmm.
have this background in film and music, etc., there's an extra layer to it, if you will. I love the pop culture ones because I do believe that they answer a lot of our questions, and I find them fun, except for all the, the Diddy stuff, because I've done several readings on those, and those are heavy and dark, so
Mm-hmm.
those are not enjoyable.
I
I
know.
love those, so that's how I got into it. But to be honest, I got into the housewives before I got into pop culture.
Oh,
So I was the first, let's just say, tarot reader 5, almost 6 years ago who started reading the housewives and what was going
oh,
on. And
cool.
because I thought that was fun, I was like, I love reality TV. I was watching a lot of housewives back then, and I was like, okay, so I've got questions. I'm going to answer them myself. I'm going to throw the
Yeah.
cards. And then I started doing those readings on YouTube. Then it kind of evolved into pop culture, true crime. I love doing true
Yeah.
crime.
Yeah. True crime is awesome. What's one of your favorite true crime readings, or even if you didn't do a reading on it, what case is fascinating with true crime? I'm just curious.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the Madeleine McCann one.
Mm-hmm.
McCain? No,
Yeah.
McCann. Sorry.
McCann, yeah.
Because
McCann.
that was huge. And me being half British and being raised in England, it just hit home. Like it was like, because this was a British couple that went to Portugal. Their child was abducted slash question mark what happened. And there's a lot of speculation and a lot of theories going around. So that was definitely a very touching channel that I did. Very, very
Yeah.
touching. The good news is that what I was told by Madeleine herself was that eventually we will get all the answers, and it's coming soon. And I do believe it's going to be in 2025,
Oh,
where
wow.
new evidence and more concrete evidence is going to come out regarding what happened to Madeleine. So definitely that one. Now, there's another one that I'm going to do soon because so many people have asked for this one is the Delphi murders.
Oh, I don't know a whole lot about that. I'll have to look into that one.
I didn't
That's
know anything about it until
really.
people started saying, you've got to read on the Delphi murders. There's something fishy about it. There's so much. And I know a little bit. It has to do with two girls that were abducted and eventually unalived by this man who seems to be guilty, but now the evidence though shows someone else. So it's a little bit confusing. I haven't looked into it yet, but I will a
Oh,
little bit because I don't want to
interesting.
go too into it before I do readings. The less I know, the
Yeah,
better.
exactly. That is really cool. Yeah, I love true crime. too. It's so much
I love.
fun.
Have you done
Yeah.
any true crime
Um,
readings?
Not on YouTube, but I would like to. I would like to do. I did do one myself on the Menendez brothers, and it
Oh
was
yeah, that one
interesting.
too.
I just did it
Mm,
myself in private, and the
mm,
Empress and Emperor came up in the because I did the Celtic cross, so that's mom and dad, right? Because he
mm-hmm,
unalived them, and or they
mm-hmm.
unalived them, and the way the spread went, it looks like they're going to be released.
You know, it's funny you say that because the first reading I did on YouTube, I was like, I didn't see it. This was 3 months ago or 2 months ago. Now I went on to someone else's channel because they asked me on, and they asked me about it. So I pulled the cards again, and I saw Lyle is the young one, right? The younger one.
He's older.
Oh, sorry, Eric.
Lyle
Then
Eric
Eric.
is the younger one. Yeah. He has
So I
blue eyes. I think the blue-eyed guy's younger.
Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
remember. Anyways, I saw
Yeah.
that the younger one, the younger brother, is the one who's going to be released first.
Wow.
So it really coincides with what you're
Hmm.
reading
I
showed you. So
really,
that'll be interesting.
yeah, that's interesting. I think he's a Sagittarius. I don't know what the other brother is. I forgot, but he came up in the reading too as the Temperance. Eric did.
Wow.
Yeah. I think Eric is actually, I feel psychically he's nicer than Lyle. He's
I
more,
I
has a
yeah.
heart, or he, he feels a lot more than the older brother, I feel. He's
Yeah.
sensitive. Hmm.
He is sensitive. You're right about that. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know. Well, maybe the brother, because of all the PTSD and everything that he's been through,
Yeah.
he's more guarded, or he's just, put
Sure.
this added protective layer, let's just say.
Yeah.
But I hope the best for those. They're not boys anymore, for the men, because
Yeah.
it's horrific.
It really is. And then the interesting thing too, and then we'll move on to something else. I don't want to
Yeah.
stay on it, but that there is a Menudo connection because I used to like Menudo when I was
Oh.
younger. And so one of the boys from the or guys, he's not a boy anymore, he's a man from Menudo, the boys band, was by the father, by Eric and Lyle's dad.
Oh, wow.
So he this is on Netflix, so he was actually talking about it. So because their dad was did something in the music industry and he did something with Menudo. So
Oh, interesting. I
yeah.
didn't know that. Oh, it's
Hmm.
terrible. It's
Yeah.
terrible. I
So
mean, I don't know what to
right.
say.
Yeah.
Let's
So
hope,
that
like,
yeah. So they think that now that uh former boy band member came out it's and said that their father,
yeah, maybe, yeah.
yeah, so
Well, mistreated their.
mistreated, right, he mistreated him, and so it's like I think people are starting to believe these brothers now. Yeah.
Listen, I worked in the music industry. I wasn't, well, I've had my fair share of stuff that happened to
Oh
me.
yeah, well, I used
Uh-huh.
to hang out at the House of Blues at the private club upstairs. I've had somebody a lot of weird things happen, believe me. I was like shocked, so I don't even want to say who they are. They're like people
Me
know, it's
neither.
like they're famous. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, me
The
neither.
same.
No, we'll
Yeah.
protect you
Hmm.
for now. For
Yeah, exactly,
now.
for now, right.
You know.
And I just was gonna ask you, when you do a reading, what are your favorite types of read? Like, what is your favorite type of reading? Psychic, mediumship, astrology, or do you combine all of them? Or I'm just curious, or tarot, or
Good question. I don't know. I don't know about you, but I go through phases, or I go through like these, like, for instance, now I love doing these past life readings. I do past life readings. I use tarot for them. I use my guides. Those are super fun and exciting. And you can tell that the querent or the client gets, like, you can see like their eyes kind of like popping out of their head because they're like, whoa, they can really relate to stuff that is coming through from a past life, to things that they're going through now, phobias, people, circumstances, things like that, or even like why they have issues with relationships in this life. For instance, it could be connected to a past life. So, but to answer your question, I love tarot. I will always love tarot. I don't need them to read, but I love using them in readings. But I would say my favorites are mediumship.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's good.
What are yours?
Wow. I like psychic. I like tarot. Sometimes I've noticed that people say, well, you have to use, like, they get mad if you use tools, but I don't really see it that way. I've heard
Why?
them, they don't talk to me about that, but I've read things like on
Oh,
comments that people have made about other psychics, like why, nobody should use tools, or other psychics say, why I don't use tools. I just use my natural ability. But it's like, I think tarot can give you some maybe things that you might miss. That's what I feel.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It
Hmm.
it really helps us to it I agree with what you're saying because it really sort of puts because there's people don't realize the way that we work. It's not like we sit here and we just hear something and then we repeat it. We
Yeah.
get different messages. It's very fragmented how
Yep.
messages come through. And we have to make sense of it. So depending if you're clairvoyant, clairsentient, whatever it is, whatever clair you have, you get so Jamie and I, for instance, we both have very similar, so we're all of it. So we
Yeah.
feel, we hear, we see, it's all of it. So you
Yeah.
have to hone everything together. You have to bring everything together. And tarot really helps kind of like keeps the reading organized,
It
I would say.
does. I
Right?
believe that too. Yeah.
I
So
love it.
I usually just like to do psychic. I like to do mediumship. I notice, like, with my mediumship, I start to feel things that the dead person was feeling
I
when they were here. So it's like, I think one lady had cataracts and I got a bunch of floaters in my eyes. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. This is like too much. I enjoy doing mediumship, but I just sometimes I just have to kind of pace it. You know what I mean? Like, I do like
yeah,
it. Yeah. I really like astrology and psychic, and yeah. I
I
do
love
like
it
medium,
too.
but yeah. Mhm.
It's different
It's
because the what we were talking about this on my channel the other day. So when you have to flip from psychic to mediumship in a reading, let's say you have a
yeah.
client and then you give them a reading, a psychic reading, and then they're like, okay, can you connect me to my dad or my late
Mhm.
husband? Um, it takes a lot. It's not like boom, it
Yeah.
starts. We have to change our frequency
Mhm.
in order for us to open the curtain, the
Yeah.
veil, and
Hmm.
allow for spirit to come through. And I agree with you. It's exhausting. A psychic reading is not as exhausting as a
Right.
mediumship reading. I agree with
That's
you. And it also
yeah.
follows you after the reading. So I don't know about you, but a lot of times once I'm done with a client and a reading, and then, I close the circle and I do all my, I cleanse my deck and
Yeah.
cleanse my space and whatnot. Sometimes I still have that heavy feeling of that reading, and it can follow me for a few hours. So it's a lot.
I agree. Yeah, I've had that happen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I've had an
it's good.
attachment through a reading. Like this guy who
Oh.
was so angry. He was this narcissist who was abusive to his wife, and his wife wanted closure. So she came to me, even though he had passed.
Mhm.
And he was mean. He was mean. He came in and he was like, oh, like a bully. And I was like, yeah, dude, you don't have a body. Like, don't you try to intimidate me. You stay in your corner. And I literally
Yeah.
put him on timeout. Like, I would bring in her grandma came in, other people, and he was in there. And I was like, and I told my client, and like, he's here, but I don't like the energy he brings
Yeah.
forward. And she was Jamie, she was shaking. Just the thought that even like her late husband, who was abusive, was in the room in spirit form, not even in the same
Oh,
room as me,
wow.
because that was Zoom. She was frightened. And
I
this
bet.
guy,
My gosh.
this soul, after the reading, he was following me around the house and he was screaming in my ear and he was playing. And I was so annoyed.
Oh
Took
my
me a while to get
gosh.
rid of. Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't happen
Wow.
often, but it
Yeah.
happens.
Do you have to tell him to leave, or?
I do, but normally, as you know, they do
Yeah.
listen because they don't have free will. You can tell them, you have to be assertive and say, you're not
Yeah.
welcome here. You're done. You leave.
Yeah.
But he was refusing to. So I had to do
Right.
some light work. I had to do some
Mm-hmm.
light work to get rid of him. And I did in
Yeah,
the end. And she
definitely.
felt lighter as well. She emailed me the day after the reading and she said that she
Uh-huh.
felt lighter. And I do believe that the fact that I did some light work on him, she she started feeling lighter about maybe he was like always, I don't know, he was a bully in life, he was a bully in the afterlife too, because he's like
Wow.
almost like stalking her,
Yeah.
it was weird.
That's terrible. Jeez.
It's
Yeah. You
terrible, but
never
it
know who
happened.
we're going to have to deal with, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Jeez.
have you,
Yeah.
I want to, I'm sorry, I'm asking you
Oh, no,
questions.
no, I think this is fun.
I love it because I could talk to you all day. As you
Me
know, we've got
too.
this
Yeah, we have
rapport.
a cool connection.
Would
Yeah.
you channel or do a reading, a mediumship reading on one of the serial killers?
Yes.
Bundy,
Yes.
would you? Okay.
I was just thinking about Ted Bundy.
Ah, see, we're
I
in
would
sync.
do him. I would do a reading on him.
You should do
I'm
it.
not afraid of these people.
Neither am I.
I don't know
Neither am
why.
I.
I mean, if he came to me in real life, I might be afraid, but not in spirit. It's interesting. My friend, her mother was picked up by Ted Bundy and she escaped.
Oh, yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. And this is after she escaped, then he stopped taking he took the doorknobs off the doors. So if they were in the car, they couldn't get out.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
my mom's a therapist and she had a client and he escaped Jeffrey Dahmer.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Michigan originally, and Dahmer was in Indiana, so that was right next to Michigan.
Ooh.
And I remember when Dahmer was on the loose, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I hope he doesn't come after me. And the guy I was dating at the time, he's like, well, no, he just goes after guys, I'm like, oh, okay. So,
This is one
yeah,
time that we're happy
yeah,
to be women, or, when we're
yeah,
around strangers. Oh,
right,
wow.
exactly. I would do Jeffrey, or not Jeffrey Dahmer. I would do Ted
Ted Bundy.
Bundy. Yeah. What
You
about
should.
you? Yeah.
I would do it
Hmm.
if there was interest in it, I would do it
Yeah.
publicly, I
I would
guess. But
too. Yeah.
but I know that can be triggering for people.
Sure. I understand. Right.
But then again, you can
Uh-huh.
always add a disclaimer because people or women have been,
Yeah.
abused or
It's right.
experienced these types of readings can be triggering. But
Right. And
maybe
it's
we
not that
should do a tandem
right.
one. We should
What
do
was
it.
that? Oh
We should do,
yeah.
or
That would be
actually, we
cool.
could do one where I do Dahmer and you do Bundy.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah,
Oh,
I
that
would
would be.
love that. And it's not that I think this guy is cool or anything. I just have a bachelor's in psychology and I have a PhD in psychology. So from
The
that
scroll.
standpoint, I think you're right. The scroll. I think these people are interesting. You know what
I
I mean?
agree.
Interesting psychologically to figure them out. Yeah.
Sociologically, psychopathologically
Yeah.
as well. All
Right.
of it. I
I
agree with
mean,
you.
I
Yeah,
think
that would be.
it's
Let's
yeah,
do that.
yeah, let's do that. That would be really interesting. We'll really have to cleanse ourselves before and after.
Oh
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. It'll be
Oh yeah.
okay.
Because
Mhm.
you don't know what I went through after I did the reading. I did a reading on Diddy.
Oh,
Uh, and I kind of like read his mom. Okay. So I've had
mm,
some dealings with his mom in the past. I've mentioned this on YouTube because again, one of my many lives and many
yeah.
professions before I became a professional reader was that so my brother and I and my husband started a yacht company.
Oh
So,
yeah.
which
Hmm.
means that I think I mentioned this before, where what we did was we managed super yachts for clients, insured them, chartered them out,
Hmm.
all of it, a
Wow.
full package. It was like a boutique company. So
Cool.
the company still exists. It's huge now. And my stepbrother is just, he's got it. We left, my husband and I left because it
Yeah.
was just wasn't for us at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, and we moved to Austria afterwards, soon after. But anyways, the
Interesting.
point is that we chartered one of our yachts to the Diddler, to Diddy.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and his mom was in charge of everything. She went through the charter contract, she went through the specs, because you always send sort of like a questionnaire to your clients, to the
Mm-hmm.
charters, what are your likes, your wants, and then you inform the crew, right? So they can give them top-notch service. And oh my God, I remember that captain of the boat would call me every night, every day, usually late at night, complaining about them because they wouldn't go to sleep before they were awake till 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, parties, drugs,
Oh,
all of
right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Women, men, in and out. It was a nightmare, and they destroyed a very expensive table in the yeah, on the upper deck. So where I'm
Wow.
going with this is that his mom, Diddy's mom, is very much a force behind
Mm.
him, and she dabbles in dark arts. Yeah, voodoo, witchcraft, dark arts, all of it. And when I did that reading, she came through. Her energy came through, and I could feel that she was trying to protect. Like she had put a shield so I
Wow.
wouldn't be able to read him or her.
Yeah.
And me being, I'm stubborn, so I was like, I don't care. I'll keep digging. I need to see
Yeah.
what's going on, everything. And I got sick, Jamie. I was psychically attacked. I was sick for 3 days after that.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Is she
Mhm,
still alive,
mhm.
his mom?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
very
that's
much
what I
alive.
thought. I
Sh
figured that. I felt that. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, she's very much alive, very much in charge of his finances right now, everything. She's always been,
Okay.
the one in charge.
Huh.
So, and did you know about Diddy's, I don't know why we're talking about him, but did you know that he has a huge tattoo on his back of the high priestess of voodoo? And what he's
No.
done is he's taken, it's great. I have it on my phone. And what he's done is he's taken out her face and he's replaced the face of the high priestess with his mom's. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, that is really, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
interesting. Wow.
So
But
that's why, going back to what you said about cleansing and protecting, it's
yes,
paramount. It's paramount
yes,
that you
exactly.
you take your protective measures
Well,
before you
it's
read people like that.
right. It's interesting you're saying that because every time um I wanted to like listen about it or maybe read about it, I felt sick about it. So not just because of the
See?
freak offs,
See?
but I think it's the dark energy that you're describing.
Yes.
It makes sense.
Yes.
I just have a question. Do you
Yeah.
think his mother, I feel like his mother knew about the freak offs. Do you feel that?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
100% she knew of that. She's an instigator. I mean, she's very much part of it. But the problem is that I don't know. The problem is she's like the pimp, you know.
Oh,
She's the
wow.
one, she's the one that kind of like makes sure that her son has everything that he needs or anything that he asks for, make sure that she protects him, that no one has
Mhm.
access to him unless they go through her first.
Mm.
So oh yeah, oh she knows,
Oh,
oh
interesting.
she
Now,
knows.
I do have a question. He was friends with, he supposedly was friends with Biggie Smaller. He says he was. I feel
Mm.
that Biggie was a nice person. Do you feel he was involved in this? I'm just curious. Oh, you do?
If Diddy was involved, no, no. I'm
Oh,
like, yeah, he is a nice
oh,
person because I
yeah.
channeled him.
Oh, okay.
Because I did a reading, I did a video on Biggie and Tupac, and
Mm-hmm.
I channeled Biggie, but Tupac I couldn't. Like, I could feel
Interesting.
his energy, but he wasn't accessible to me. So I feel he's getting ready to reincarnate. So yeah,
Oh, interesting. My
yeah, 'cause
goodness.
there was no way for me to access him. So I could get like things like my guides were helping me, but I wasn't really connecting to his Biggie though, big teddy bear.
Hmm.
And all I can say is from what Diddy told me and showed me was that allegedly, we have to use these terms, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Um, allegedly, yes, Diddy had very much something to do with that. He wasn't the one who did it. Did
I
he or didn't he?
see.
Did it,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a woman. There was a woman. There was a woman.
Oh,
And now the
interesting.
question is was that his wife, Faith, or
Uh-huh.
was that his mistress
Yeah.
that was working with Diddy, or was, yeah, who was
Wow.
working with Diddy or helping Diddy get what he wanted from
Oh
Biggie.
my
So yeah,
goodness. Wow. There's a lot. So, I mean, I'm wondering if it was, we talked about Pluto and Aquarius and where, you know, the power gets taken back with the people. I wonder if that had something to do with all this being found out or making wrongs right, or do you think it just was just his karma or all
I
this all
think
it's been going on for a while, for 30
it,
years.
30 years,
Hmm.
right? We've been through Pluto and Sag, Pluto in Capricorn, and finally, as we reach Pluto and Aquarius, it all comes to light. So yeah, Aquarius is very much about,
Yeah.
better than I do actually, that, this is it's about helping the collective. This is a time where
Right.
anything that was hidden in the shadows is coming to light, and it's what the collective does about it, because the Aquarius energy is about bringing everyone together. It's about working together. It's about the collective. It's about progressive thinking,
Hmm.
about getting rid of anything that anchors down or weigh us down. And darkness definitely weighs us down, and
Yeah.
definitely influences in a negative way our lives. So I do believe that it's going to get worse before it gets better. I'm not going to lie, but we are heading towards what I call the golden era, where things are going to be massively more light, and
Mm-hmm.
people are going to be more connected. We're going to be human beings are going to be more connected to each other, and
Yeah.
working with each other. So yeah, timing is everything. And I do believe the
Mhm.
timing is because of these changes, this collective shift, energy shift that's happening right now. What do you think?
I
How do
think
you
so
see it
too.
astrologically?
Astrologically with Pluto and Aquarius.
Just in
Yeah,
general,
in
like
general with
how
the
do you think this
world.
is going to pan out? Mm,
I feel like people are going to get their comeuppances. I feel like
yeah.
there's people right now, really rich people, billionaires trying to buy their way into things. And I feel like that's going to end. I feel like people are going to take their power back. I feel like what we're
Yeah.
seeing now, especially in the United States, it might be going one way, but I think it's going to do a complete turn. And I think people are going to be shocked the way things go.
Yeah,
That's my
you're
opinion.
right.
I
I
really believe
agree.
that. Yeah,
Uh, I
I think all these people that we have a couple of people at the top that are in charge. I think that's all going to change. I think the structures are going to change.
I agree 100%. And what it is not only the structure, I also believe that so if I'm going to quote the housewives for some reason, but the real housewives. So if this era that we're stepping into, Pluto and Aquarius had a tagline, if it was a housewife and had a tagline, it would be
Mhm.
expect the unexpected.
I love that.
I
That's
think
cool.
that's how I see it.
Expect the unexpected with a cherry on top.
With a cherry,
With a
in a
cherry
very
on top
Aquarian
for
way.
the community.
True.
Like
Oh,
we're
I've got a
we're gonna
question
get
for
our
you,
cherry on top.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Because you said cherry on top, and I was going to say cherry on top is going to be the aliens or the
Oh,
extraterrestrial. What are
that
your
would
thoughts
be.
on that?
Oh my gosh, the aliens and extra ETs. Oh, I believe it.
Hmm.
I've had people on the podcast that were
Ooh,
taken or whatever. They were I forget what they call it.
abducted.
Um she doesn't want to say that. She says taken because she doesn't say because she likes them. I guess they're friends. The one that was on my podcast.
Interesting. You
Yeah.
know what? I've heard a lot of people who were taken, to use the correct
Yeah,
term, that
right.
feel a connection to them.
Yeah, that's how she was. And I had
Interesting.
Preston Dennett on. He was actually on the Kardashians. That's how I knew about him. And I reached out to him.
Oh,
He's an author. And his friend, um, was the one that was taken. He wrote a book on her. So I believe there
Oh,
are aliens. I think the government's hiding them from us for some reason.
mhm, mhm.
So
Yeah, I believe so too. I believe
mhm.
that the age of Aquarius or
Yeah.
the Pluto Aquarius, I do believe that we will soon, the
Hmm.
world will see them.
Oh, I do
We'll
too. In this era, in the next 20 years, or as it probably before 20 years, but I feel like we're gonna see them or have connections with more connections with them.
I agree, and I
Hmm.
can't wait. Me being Aquarius, I can't wait. I
I can't
can't wait.
either. Hmm.
Right? Because I mean, it's at the end of the day, enough with all the smoke and mirrors and the lies and the
Yeah.
all of it. Let's really live to our. That's why we're here. That's why we're on Earth. We're here to
Yeah.
experience life on this planet to the full, to the maximum in a way, and we
Yeah.
don't, because we cannibalize our own selves and our
Exactly.
world.
Right. I
And I
agree with
believe if
that.
aliens are, they start mingling and they're around us, then it's going to bring a nice little balance. And this
Hmm.
is what's going to bring humanity closer to each other. This is what I believe is going to bring man closer to each other, because we are going to be like, hey, listen, we're not alone.
Hmm.
What
Yeah.
have we been doing? You know, what have we been doing? Why have we been fighting against each other or being, mistreating each other instead of coming together with those aliens or against them, whatever it is? I don't know. I cannot predict, but
Hmm.
I think it's beautiful. I can't
I do
wait. It might
too.
be scary
Uh-huh.
at first, but fun.
Well, yeah, I think they're on a higher vibration. I don't think they're scary. I think they're all about love. And it sounds like from the people I've interviewed that they don't care about, material things. It's just about,
Mm,
like you said, you're living the life on the planet and enjoying yourself. It's not about um who has what or the haves and have nots, it's different. And like I said, I think they're on a higher vibration. I heard that they could live 1,000 years. Like they have a really long lifespan.
oh, wow. But
Mhm.
they do. Here's the thing though.
Yeah.
So they have, like, do they have organs and stuff? Like, do they have
um, I don't
heart?
know.
How does that
uh
work?
I don't know. Actually,
I don't
it's
know.
so weird. I'll have to. That was one question I didn't ask them. That is a very interesting question. When I had
Maybe you should
Preston
bring
Denon
them
on,
back and
I
ask.
will. Yeah, and maybe I could, as a matter of fact, I could bring both of them back. And if you want to come, all four of us could have a conversation. They're
I
very
would love
interesting.
that. I have a ton of
Yeah.
questions.
Okay, because Preston just
Oh,
wrote a book. So I'll arrange it for the new year if you want to come.
awesome.
It'd
That
be
would be,
fun.
thank you. I would
Yeah.
love that.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're
So,
really reputable. That, like I said, he was on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Khloe Kardashian
mm,
called them when she was looking for UFOs with her boyfriend at the time. So, yeah, he's
oh,
really nice. Yeah,
oh,
and
I
then you
can't
have
wait.
that
Yeah, that would
connection.
be,
Yeah, yeah.
thank you.
And
That would be
yeah,
lovely. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you want to share anything about 2025. Are you getting any vibes about what we can expect? I don't know if you want to share it or if you get any downloads from
I
spirit
got a
world.
few. I got a few. I
Okay.
haven't gotten any because I haven't had the time to kind of sit down and see, but I
Yeah.
have a few. So one of them is not, so for if anyone's in Europe, for instance, a big one that I got was that things are going to get worse in Europe when it comes to public unrest, when it comes to vandalism, anarchy. Um, of course, everything is going to the far right now in Europe. I do believe. I also see some kind of. I was shown some kind of terrorist attack happening in Paris. I don't want to panic anyone,
Oh,
but
wow.
I saw that. I don't have any more information around that.
I was getting
Meaning,
that too. I didn't mean to interrupt. I was picking up on that too. I got that a few times. It's interesting you
oh
are saying
wow,
that.
yeah, and I think this is going. I believe that terrorist incident that's going to happen in Paris is going to trigger a snowball effect in Europe, including um, immigrants and refugees and closing of the borders. I do believe that 2025 is going to mark the beginning of the end of the EU.
Oh, interesting.
That's one of my predictions. Yeah.
Okay.
The other one is, oh, there's another one that came to me during a reading with a client regarding Bitcoin, cryptocurrency in general. So because she had invested money in crypto. So while I was reading, I got some information. So I don't know how crypto works exactly, but all I can tell you and what I got is this. There is going to be an upward trend with crypto in the next 2 or 3 months where we're going to be seeing crypto going up. The stock market is going to go down,
Mm.
I believe,
Yeah.
January time, end of December, January. That's what I'm getting. But then there's going to be a crash with crypto as well around
Oh,
March, April.
okay.
So for anyone who's invested or has crypto,
Yeah.
that's another one. What was another one? Yeah, I still feel this was also my prediction for 24, weather, extreme weather
Mhm.
patterns, floodings, a lot of water. I see water. The water element is going to be strong in 25, meaning I also see some kind of shipwreck. I just got this download now. I saw a shipwreck, some kind of big, whether it's it's a cruise ship. Oh,
Wow.
oh no. Yeah, I
Oh my
saw that.
goodness. Well, you know
Yeah.
what's interesting, aren't they? Isn't the Titanic coming back?
Is it? What are
Seriously,
they?
yeah, it is. Like I heard that they're redoing the Titanic
When is it launching? Well, I mean,
in
when?
the next year or two. I'm
I
serious.
hope it's not what I'm seeing. Because can you
Oh,
imagine
oh my goodness. Well, they say,
karma?
my gosh, yeah, our history could repeat itself. They're taking
If
away all
that
the
happens,
those
that
that
would
don't
be.
learn history. It's doomed to repeat itself. They're in the US, they're taking all these books away. So it's like, here we go again.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
right.
true.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah.
Lord,
Oh
and the
my
whole and
gosh.
I'm not even touching the political
No, I
predictions.
know.
No, I'm not
It's
touching I'm fed up.
no,
I'm tired.
me too. I'm tired of it too. I'm just staying out of it.
Me too. I'm like,
Yeah.
listen, we gave our predictions.
Mhm.
It is as it is. We'll see what
Right.
happens. That's it.
Yeah, right, exactly. And looking to the future, what are some of your hopes for the spiritual community and how do you plan to continue expanding your work to, support and heal other people?
That's such a good question. I love that question. What do you hope for the
Yeah.
spiritual community? You know what? I hope that it does go even more mainstream. And I mean, this is I don't know if it's a prediction or a thought I had recently where I have sort of like a vision where kids at school, instead of learning religion or they will have the option to have spiritual classes and learn about the spiritual world and spirit and souls and past lives and maybe even
Oh,
divination. And that's my hope. It's my hope because it does make you a better person. You don't need to
yeah.
be gifted. And by the way, everyone has these abilities. It's just that it's a muscle that you need to train. It's something
Yeah.
that you need to work on for anyone listening and watching. But I just, yeah, that's my hope because I do believe that spirituality, and when you realize who you really are on
Yeah.
a higher level, you're happier. I do believe the world will become a much happier place
Hmm. Right. I
if
agree.
we bring spirituality to the mainstream and to everyone, and especially the kids.
Right. Because, people that are like, well, they call us light workers because we're on a high vibration. And so
Exactly.
there's a lot of I can feel the low vibrations. Like I can feel
Yeah.
them when I go out. A lot of people don't notice it. I can feel it. And yeah, we got to get the
And
vibration up. And then
we do
teaching
need to
that
get
can
the
help. Yeah.
and these kids are star seeds. They're all like these
Yeah.
these kids, these younger generation. I know Gen Z gets a lot of flack. Yeah. But on the
Mhm.
other hand, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, the next generation, which is going to be, I don't know what the next one's going to be called after Alpha.
Mm.
Anyways, they're all here. They have a mission. They're all here to help
Yeah.
humanity. They're all here to help the collective, because you see babies now. Jamie, I notice babies now. I saw
Oh,
that with my kids, but even with kids now, like friends who are just having babies now, I look at those babies and I see that I can really see their soul. These are old souls. These are
yeah.
old souls coming back.
Yeah, I
So
know.
we need to give kids, people, the
Yeah,
tools to.
exactly.
So
Hmm.
that's my dream. That's my hope.
Right. And
That's
even
my
if
hope.
they don't teach it in school, um, we could, because in the United States, there's a lot of like, I hate to say it, evangelicals.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
I know.
just and they want things a certain way. But we as light workers want things our way too. But
Yeah,
what's the harm in it? It's, teaching people to, expand their abilities. But if you can't find it in your school, you could find it on different classes. People offer classes. You do too, don't you? You offer classes or
I do.
workshops. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Always
We A
find it.
lot of us do, but it's not mainstream. Someone needs to find you, right? Someone needs
Right.
to have the interest, or they want to work
Mhm.
on themselves, or they want to learn in order for them to
Yeah.
come and find you. I want spirituality to be like there. Like
Right.
you
Exactly.
can
I,
find it.
I
You
I
know what
think
I mean?
it, but I think it'll get there with Pluto and Aquarius, but it might
Yes.
take a couple
Yes.
years.
Yes. But I
Yeah.
can't wait. I
I
can't wait.
can't
Or
either.
you know how you
Yeah.
have like Pilates studio in every corner, or yoga studio every corner? Why not have a spiritual center in every corner?
Exactly. Yeah,
You
that
know?
would be something.
And
Mhm.
normalize having your own spiritual coach. You know how you have
Exactly.
your own GP, your own practitioner, your own um,
Dentist, right?
dentist, your own
Yeah.
therapist, your own
Hmm.
whatever. Have your own spiritual coach.
Yeah.
Normalize that. Make it mainstream.
Exactly. I agree. I think Nancy Reagan had a psychic in the White House. She did.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I
And
mean, this isn't unusual, right?
no, it's not, but they just don't talk. That's the thing. A lot of politicians, a lot of these powerful people and these world leaders do
Mhm.
consult astrologers or readers, um, or whoever, right? But they don't come out and say it, so people don't know it. So
Mhm.
it's not, it's not mainstream. Why not
Yeah.
come out and say it? My astrologer advised me that maybe inauguration shouldn't happen on the 20th. Maybe we should
Right.
wait 2 days because the moon is whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Why
I
not?
do. I agree. I definitely agree with you. And then my last question for you, Natalie, unless you want to add anything else before we go.
I probably will. You know me, once I start, I don't stop.
No, that's okay. But the last question I always ask every guest is our tagline for the Electric Spirit podcast is igniting your spirit. How do you
Mm.
ignite your spirit?
Good question. Oh, I love that question. How do I ignite my spirit? By I try to keep as centered as possible. And I meditate as well, which helps, which really helps. So I what ignites me is when I feel balanced and I feel at peace. And life is difficult. Life is hard. Every day is a struggle because I have kids, you have kids, we
Mhm.
work, we do a ton of things. And a lot of times it's hard, but you know what ignites me? It's my connection to spirit, as weird as it sounds. It's just
Oh,
it I look forward to connecting to my guides, and that keeps me in check, and that reminds me that I'm here. I'm on a mission. This is the journey and the path that I chose for myself. And I shouldn't sort of like focus on the negative, and I should make the best of it. So that really ignites me and gives me happiness, and I feel more centered and balanced. I hope that answers that.
yeah, it does. I think that's amazing. Thank you
You
so
know,
much. Yeah.
thank you. Because
Yes.
when we were younger, when I was younger, material things ignited my happiness, or
Yeah.
my ego.
Mhm.
But now it's none of that. Sometimes I see myself, I go online. I love online shop. I hate going to the shops for the reason that you mentioned before. I can't with the low vibrations and the EMF and all that. I just can't.
Yeah, I can't
I don't
either.
enjoy
It's
it.
hard.
It's
Yeah.
hard. So I online shop. And lately, the last couple of years, I'm not going to lie, I have a Virgo rising. So
So do
I don't,
I. Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I
that's
can't
cool.
save money. Okay. I cannot save what I earn, what money I've got, I spend it on other people, myself, on
Oh, wow.
animals or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and the last 2 years, I'm just the opposite. I'm like, okay, there's no reason to spend money on material things, because
Yeah.
that's not what makes me happy. It's my connection to this world and the spiritual world that makes me
hmm
happy. So
Yeah, that's cool. Me too.
I
And I'm
know
glad
we
you're
have
doing
so much in
this.
common.
We do. We're both Virgo risings. We're Gen
What's your
Xers.
We're Gen Xers
Yeah.
on the cusp, on the cusp, on the cusp. I'm just
Yeah,
joking.
right on the cusp. Oh, what were you going to ask me? I'm sorry.
What was I gonna ask you?
What my moon is or
Yes, I
oh,
forgot your moon. Yeah,
Capricorn.
Capricorn.
That's
That's right.
that's probably why I don't like to spend money.
When she's like you, my daughter's a Virgo. She's got all this cash, okay, because everyone gives her money, or pocket
Mhm.
money. She does not spend. Like, if sometimes I tell her, if I don't have cash in the house, and I'll say, if you need to buy something from the school cafeteria, buy with your own money. I'll give it to you tomorrow. She doesn't. She doesn't trust that I'm going to give her the money back,
Oh,
and also she will
interesting.
not spend to save her life. Yeah, and she's a Virgo.
Wow. That's interesting.
What can I
Wow.
say? What can I say? So, yeah,
That's
the
cool.
also it's good. I just realized you're a Capricorn moon, which means you can finally breathe with Pluto
Yeah.
not
So that's
ingressing
good.
your moon anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that
thank
feels
God.
good. Thank you. So, yeah, it was great having you here,
It
Natalie.
was it was a
It was
pleasure.
amazing.
It's always a
And
pleasure.
I'd love to have you come back with it's Dolly. Dolly's the one that was taken by the and,
Okay. Okay.
and Preston um is an author who's written many books. His name is Preston Dennett. And so I'm going to arrange so all four of us can have a conversation early
Would love
next
that.
year. Yeah, that would be fun. So stay
If you
tuned, listeners. Yeah.
Thank you. And if you can just like send me a link of his book, I would love to
Yeah,
read it before we do that, because I would love
definitely.
to get. Oh, okay,
Oh,
perfect.
for
So
sure.
thank you for having
Yeah.
me, Jamie. This was,
Oh,
and
you're
anytime
welcome.
I'll be back. You're coming back to my channel for
Oh,
sure.
I'd love
Everyone
to.
loved you as well.
Oh, I loved being on. It was an honor, and I look forward to the future with you because you're a lot of fun.
Same. Same. We're
Yeah.
we're we're soul sisters. There's some
Yeah,
kind
we
of
are.
connection here that we
Yeah,
haven't
there is.
pinpointed.
Yeah, and girl power. So this is awesome.
100%. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. We'll see you next year.